inhaled, but when we are expiring or exhaling the gas, medical gas, at that time dead space volume is that much. So when patient will at a next breath, so same dead space will be there, and again जो कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड यहाँ पे मौजूद है, the present carbon dioxide present in airway tract, that will get inhaled again in lungs. तो इससे होगा क्या? CO2 retention, right? So that is the reason we are using optic flow, high flow. So what flow to the patients? So we wash out the anatomical dead space. जितना dead space यहाँ पे है upper tract में, वो पूरा wash out हो जाएगा. Now affects much more to the pediatric patients. जब patient inhale करता है और exhale करता है, so we know that there is a mechanism, or we can say positive and negative ventilation, right? So at that time when we inhale, so proper पूरा, let's take an example of balloon, okay? So when we जब हम उसको फुलाते हैं तो proper वो बैठ जाता है, लेकिन जब हम उसको हवा छोड़ देते हैं, so there is some amount of air is present in that balloon, right? Same way it works in our alveolar section as well, or lungs as well. So जितना ज़्यादा pressure होगा, जितना ज़्यादा we can say there will be dynamic pressure. अगर अलग से कोई pressure रहेगा तो that can cause a barotrauma. But we are giving a dynamic pressure which will, if there is some blockage, so it will reduce the pressure, and if there is no blockage, so it will increase the pressure as per the demand. Okay, effectively. So first point is breathe and flow dependent airway pressure. So as I said, it is a depend upon flow. What is flow we are providing? If the patient is pediatric or neonatal, at that time the flow will be very less, right? And that cannula will be also different. But when it comes to the adult patient, there are three sizes as well. It promotes slow breathing. जो prolonged breathing है, workout breathing है, उस patient का वो slow हो जाएगा. Patient will get settled down. And third thing is respiratory support. If the patient needs, like when we say that workout breathing is so high, that means the peak inspiratory demand of patient is so high. Okay, so I'll just give you example कि अभी जब ये एर्गो 3 ऊपर लाना था, तो प्रॉपर जो लिफ्ट थी वो बंद थी, या we can say full of patients were there. So I use stairs up to I can say 11th floor. So at that time I was just like workout breathing, और मैं बहुत ज़्यादा सांसें जल्दी ले रहा था, तो मैम ने बोला थोड़ा पानी पीकर शांति से बैठ जाओ. Okay, so that is the reason कि जब हम we can say when we जब ट्रैक पे जाते हैं, right, या बड़े पहाड़ों पे जाते हैं, चलते हमारा जो ऑक्सीजनेशन लेवल है वो वर्कआउट ब्रीदिंग हाई हो जाता है, क्योंकि we require more oxygen. Same way, the patient, when it comes to the respiratory support, the patient is having respiratory distress, it will require more oxygenation or more oxygen to inspire. So the respiratory support, what it will cause, the respiratory rate will get down. Second is there will be decrease of workout breathing, जो fast की breathe हो रहा था वो कम होगा. Third is wash out of carbon dioxide, as I said, and there will be gas exchange. That means more oxygenation and less carbon dioxide will be out. Now, coming to the supplementation of oxygen, if the patient requires more oxygen, then we will titrate the O2 as per our requirement, right? If we are setting the flow of, let's assume that we are setting a flow of 50 on nasal HFNC, and patient needs about 50% to 60% of oxygen. That means अगर 50 लीटर का फ्लो है तो 25 liters is a pure oxygen. Get it everyone? Right? So if the patient requires more oxygen, so we can titrate accordingly. So here we can say there is a when we are there is unassisted breathing. So there will be only 21% of oxygen. Is more. So at that time we are giving a consistent FiO2 and which is a fully humidified, comfortable with the supplemental action that we are giving with the HFNC. Got it? So this was the theory part of HFNC. क्योंकि मैं अकेला बोलूंगा तो आप सब मेरे तरफ देख रहे हैं और पहली बार इतने ऑडियंस को मैं बोल रहा हूँ ओके सो मैं भी थोड़ा सा डरा हुआ हूँ तो मुझे बताओ आप कि एनी डाउट यू आर हैविंग कि डे टू डे लाइफ में यू आर यूजिंग एचएफएनसी और कहाँ पे एचएफएनसी यूज करेंगे आई टॉक लेटर अबाउट दैट कि कौन से इंडिकेशंस में दे विल यूज नेजल हाई फ्लो नो क्वेश्चंस Yeah. So let's talk about Aero 2 system here. So you are all are using HFNC with the Aero 2. So which includes this device which is called as Aero 2. Second is water chamber. This is a circuit. And third is cannula that we are connecting to the patient. That is the HFNC. Okay. So which includes we can say that so you just press the turn on button and then you set the flows temperature degree Celsius of temperature in Aero 2. Okay, the patient if the patient is on tracheostomy, so you can use HFNC on tracheostomy as well. But at that time we are bypassing the upper airway tract fully, right? So at that time we have to give a 37 degree Celsius क्योंकि जो upper airway tract है जो normal body होती है वो maintain करता है जब यहाँ से हम air inspire करते हैं तो it is around 21 degree Celsius to 25 degree Celsius, right? जब हम inspire करते हैं तो नीचे lungs तक जाते तक वो 37 डिग्री हो जाता है, right? But यहाँ पे तो हम पूरा bypass ही कर रहे हैं upper airway tract bypassing the upper airway tract. So at that time we will use 37 degree Celsius temperature. But the patient who requires who are comfortable at that time we can vary with a 34 and 31 degree Celsius temperature. Okay, now coming to the flow, when it comes to the Aero 2 there are two options. One is adult mode, second is junior mode. At that time for junior mode it is 2 to 25 liters of flow. As per the requirement we can change the cannula size, and when it comes to the adult we can use from 10 liters to 60 liters. Okay, and FiO2 we are titrating from the high flow meter, that is the 70 liters of flow meter is we are attaching to the high HFNC. So which is giving a more oxygen than a normal flow meter. Okay. So, and this is a Aero 3 device which is currently present in a PICU what they are using right now. So this is not anymore a bedside device जहाँ पे हम ICU में bedside में HFNC और Aero 2 use करते हैं. But this is not anymore a bedside device. This is a mobile device now. जहाँ पे Aero 2 में लगाते थे patient पे तो patient was getting comfortable. But when it comes to the जहाँ पे transport करने की बात आती थी, when it comes to the transportation of patients, so patients were getting deteriorated during transport only. So it is having a battery backup. So of around 1 hour, so we can transport the patient with the HFNC without breaking the therapy. Therapy break नहीं कर रहे हम लोग. So it will not cause any deterioration of a patient or oxygen when it comes to transportation. Okay. Now let's talk about what are the benefits. So this is just 2 liters to 70 liters now we can use in Aero 3. And there are alternative methods where we were using फ्लो मीटर, कभी कभी एक किसी ने एकदम से वो हाई फ्लो कर दिया तो टूट जाता था, राइट? सो now you can set FiO2 in device only, no need to use flow meter in Aero 3. Now coming to the circuit that you can see here. So that circuit is we are using, which is a single link circuit, and it's having air spiral structures. So it is having about 4 wires circularly bounded on the layer of, but you can say this tube, so which helps to heat सर्किट आ जाता है। तो अगर हमने कभी सर्किट को हाथ लगाया जब पेशेंट पे वो कनेक्टेड होता है, तो वी कैन फील दैट इट इज राइट, दैट इज द रीजन it is having around 4 wires layered to the tube. Okay, now coming to the cannulas. So when it comes to the adult patients, so you are aware about this cannula, right? But right now we can say there are 3 sizes as well: small, medium, and large. If the patient is having bit of, healthy, so you can use at that time a large cannula. Patient as well. So this is for the HFNC. So it will give us continuous high flow, and जो washout होगा वो यहाँ से यहाँ पे दिया है कि stable and easy to use septum guard. So that will use as a exhalation port, वहाँ पे होल दिख रहा है, वहाँ से वो कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड easily wash out होगा. Now these are the adult cannulas that you are using for the adult patients. But when it comes to the junior cannulas or pediatric patients, so this is the pediatric cannula. At that time you are using a legal pads, क्योंकि बच्चे जो होते हिलते रहते हैं तो प्रॉपर फिटिंग है वहाँ पे. सो अगर बच्चा हिला भी तो it will not cause any you can say disturbance of a therapy. Okay, so there are 3 sizes that currently you can use for pediatric patients. So with the Aero 3 you can use with a 2 to 70 liters for the from OGR 414, OGR 416 and OGR 418 for the pediatric patients. Okay, now these are the cannulas that are using with the HFNC, as there is no you can say more, it is more comfortable, क्योंकि हम लोग जस्ट कैनुला ऐड कर रहे हैं, पेशेंट विल फील दैट ठीक है इतना कुछ ज्यादा हुआ नहीं, क्योंकि जब हम एनआईवी या जो मास्क लगाते हैं तो पेशेंट पहले डर जाता है. So same way I can say you are the best speaker as well. So when we connect any therapy, it is more important to connect with the patient as well, कि हम लोग आपको ये थेरेपी लगा रहे तो firstly we have to give the comfort to the patient, and after that any therapy we can provide or HFNC we can provide. Okay, now let's talk about indications. कि इतना तो हो गया, पर यूज कहाँ पर करना है, कौन से indications में we are using the HFNC. So first is AD-COPD. Anyone can tell me what is AD-COPD or COPD? Yeah, at that time what happens? There is a pulmonary distress. Okay. Second, acute hypercapnic, that is type 2 respiratory failure. At that time CO2 get increased in a body, and that is a acute hypoxemic respiratory failure, suddenly worsening of O2. अचानक से O2 जो है या SpO2 लेवल डाउन हो जाता है, that is acute hypoxemic respiratory failure. So at that time we can use HFNC as a first line of therapy. Last, asthma, atelectasis, you can see here, or you can take photo as well if you want. So at that time I will not take much time, we'll quickly move to the hands-on session as well. So these are the physiological points where benefits of using HFNC. So it will reduce the respiratory rate or work of breathing within a 5 to 15 minutes, it will the oxygenation जो SpO2 level है वो increase within a 10 to 15 minutes after the connecting HFNC. Dyspnea within 10 to 30 minutes. Or supraclavicular retraction, it is regarding when post extubation we are using HFNC, you can use it as a weaning device as well. So as a primary device, primary support to the post extubation level, you can use the HFNC. Now coming to the clinical outcome side, that is more important, I can say. So which will reduce the escalation of time, escalation of care. अगर patient एकदम जल्दी से deteriorate होगा तो क्या होगा? Patient will need the escalation to the ventilator or any other therapy, right? So at that time, HFNC can reduce this time or reduce this care, we can say have to take. Second is improved symptomatic relief. Any symptomatic relief is the patient having, so it will reduce that time. So third is improved patient comfort and compliance. Patient will feel more comfortable with the cannula, just a cannula. And last is exacerbation days. जो ICU days है वो patient के कम हो जाएंगे. Okay. So that was the theory part of HFNC. We'll quickly move to the how we should use HFNC. As you are all the people here sitting out, so I'll just quickly give you the video how we can connect the patients, how we can So
the EMO2 is a humidifier with integrated flow generator that can deliver high flow, warmed and
so at that time here we will use water chamber and the circuit. There are two circuits. One is 561, 900 PT 561 and 900 PT 562. There are two circuits. One is normal circuit which doesn't have anything. So this is just a normal circuit, but this is a 562 where you can use nebulization as well. Okay, without using any external mask. क्योंकि जब हम external mask use करेंगे और patient और uncomfortable feel करेगा. But as this is a smooth bore circuit, so there will be no deposition of any nebulization in the circuit, and we are providing high flow. So with a high flow, it will give a more effective nebulization with the HFNC as well. So this is how we can connect the HFNC. First,
humidifier interface with dilatant sensors, water chamber. A heater plate warms bits of individual water molecules, each more tiny when compared with the water station. And disinfection has been a tracheostomy interface. These accessory gates, chamber, and push on fully. Then clip the water supply tube into position. Fit the water chamber to the unit by pushing down the finger guard and sliding the chamber on, carefully aligning with the blue chamber pull ends. Push the chamber on firmly until the finger guard clips into place. Attach the sterile water bag to the hanging bracket
and we will use
above the
a distilled water, not a saline water at any cost. Saline water use नहीं करेंगे क्योंकि अगर we use saline water, then it will get crystallized.
The chamber will now automatically flow to the required level and maintain the level until the water bag is
empty. It will not move around.
To ensure continuous humidification, always ensure that the water chamber and the water bag are not allowed to
humidity or proper heat, that water can transform into water vapors. Okay.
If the water level rises above the maximum water level line, replace the chamber immediately. Next, connect the heated breathing tube. One end of the heated breathing tube has a blue plastic sleeve. Lift the sleeve and slide the connector onto the unit. Push the sleeve down to lock. Or,
the back
if
side
using
of
one of the newest style breathing tubes, simply push down while gripping
connectors or sensors where we can connect to the patient, to the device, sorry. और वो क्या करेगा, जो
Choose the
टेम्परेचर कितना है वो मेजर करेगा at the patient end as well as at the
The
device.
EO2 is now ready for the patient.
Yeah. Now it is the EO2 is ready for the patient. Now second thing is more, which is more important, which is a disinfection of the device. Okay, because it will increase the life of device as well, and it will reduce the contamination of device as well. Okay, so this is a disinfection tube when we where we use if before connecting every patient. So it will take around 55 minutes to disinfect the device, but disinfection process is happened with a thermal disinfection. So it will, the temperature of that device when it comes to the disinfection mode, it will go more than 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, so at 100 degrees Celsius, no pathogens, no viruses can be there in a circuit or there in a device. But now अगर हमने एक बार डिसइंफेक्ट कर दिया तो वापस रखना है इसे नहीं, जब तक नेक्स्ट पेशेंट को हम लगाते नहीं, तो वी हैव टू कीप इट इज आइडल, इसको ऐसे रखना है, सो दैट विल मेंटेन अ पेटेंट एयरवे ऑफ द डिवाइस. ओके, जब नेक्स्ट पेशेंट को लगाएंगे तभी यूज करेंगे, तभी ये निकालेंगे, दैट इज आइडियल थिंग. एंड थर्ड इज, and it is coming to the, I got many calls for the failure of a device due to the filters, right? So we have to change after every 3 months, and if we are continuously using, so as per the grayish of the filter is getting grayish because we are sucking the air from room, so there will be many particulates which will getting sucked along with the air. So we will have to change the filters. Let's assume that हम किसी छोटे होटल में जाते हैं, राइट, वहाँ पे कोई एग्जॉस्ट होता है, राइट, और एग्जॉस्ट में वो बराबर काला पड़ गया होता है, वो तेल वगैरह सब. सेम वे यहाँ पे भी वी आर यूजिंग अ ब्लेंडर. जब हम घर पे वो फैन चलाते हैं तो फैन के अराउंड भी वो पार्टिकुलेट्स जमा हो जाते हैं. व्हाई? बिकॉज़ वी आर गिविंग अ हाई, वी आर यूजिंग अ ब्लेंडर, तो ब्लेंडर में फैंस के साथ वो अटैच होता चला जाता है. दैट्स व्हाई वी आर हैव टू चेंज द फिल्टर्स टाइमली, so that can increase the life of HFNC as well. So let's start with a not wasting much time post exam that you have given right now. आपने अभी एग्जाम दिया तो now you, as you have attended this session, you will have to answer this, right? I always tell that कि अगर मैंने कुछ बताया है और आपको कोई questions नहीं है, तो you have understood everything, right? And if there are no questions, then there is another possibility that आप कुछ नहीं समझे, right? So you will answer everything. So first question is, what is the primary advantage of active humidification in HFNC? Right? कि जहाँ पे वो we are using a humidifier, तो it will maintain the mucociliary transport of the patient. Second, right? Why is heated humidifier necessary in HFNC system? Yes, C. देख लो एक बार. B is right answer.
To
B is the right
prevent
answer.
mass fermentation.
Now,
Which of the
which of the patients we can use HFNC? All of the above, right? Yeah. The fifth question is,
following circuit type using
so we are using a single link circuit with an integrated probe. As I said कि वहाँ पे एक सेंसर है, जब हम पुट करते हैं वहाँ पे इंसर्ट करते हैं, वहाँ पे दो सेंसर्स हैं, so which will measure the patient at the patient level temperature and device level temperature as well. Okay. Now last is, sixth is
और
देख लो एक बार क्वेश्चन ठीक से देख लो. What role does optic flow nasal cannula play in the HFNC system? मैंने पहले ही बता दिया. It will be A. वो अर्जुन मैम ने सेट किया है. So this the right answer is deliver heated, humidified, high flow with a.
We selected the A option, but Google is telling C option.
I'm using HLSC actually.
That's what Google is telling C now.
I thought the Google
After submitting the answers, we are getting the correct answer.
Okay.
It is showing C.
Okay, at that time you got C. So let's start that. The right answer for that answer question is okay. So एक mark मेरे तरफ से. So what does FiO2 setting in a HFNC device represent?
31 to 30.
So that is a big fraction of inspired oxygen delivered to the patient. Now as I said, what is the ideal range?
Otherwise,
31 to 37.
31 to 37.
Okay. 9 says what of the following can affect the performance of heated breathing setting? So as I said, ambient temperature if we are using HFNC in ICU और अगर कोई हॉस्पिटल में ऐसा होता है कि हर ICU वार्ड में या रूम में सेंट्रलाइज ऑक्सीजन ऊपर से होता है and at that time we got more condensation out of it. Okay. So second is circuit thinking. अगर properly circuit हमने fit नहीं किया, there is any issue, so there will be connection, and if we are not setting properly, so that will cause as well the condensation. Okay. Now in pediatric or neonatal HFNC therapy, why circuit dead space of concern? क्योंकि when we are using at a pediatric level, so lungs are not that much developed, right?
Breathing.
So at that time, what? Yeah. बोलो.
It contributes to this.
Rebreathing. So the answer will be first. It enhances the oxygenation.
असं काय आहे? आम्ही दिले तर
और एक मार्क मेरी तरफ से, ठीक है. So which of these is an indication for using HFNC in a hospital setting? So we have seen that during COVID-19, HFNC was the lone warrior जहाँ पे ventilators available नहीं थे. There were no ventilators available in hospital. At that time, we were using HFNC and patient got recovered with HFNC only. No, there was no need of escalation for the patient. Second is acute hypoxemic respiratory failure. As I said, is suddenly worsening of the SpO2 level down हो जाता है. Third is routine post-operative care at a stable patient. So when after the extubation patient having a RDS, so at that time we can use HFNC. And as you said, so answer is all of the above. It is important to check. Should regularly change. Yeah, there was the answer, huh? Or many here. Okay. So thank you so much. You guys are great audience. But if you have any questions, so and if you have any doubts, and if you got any concerns regarding
the screen.
oh,
Screen,
yeah, that is the most important thing. What?
Just a minute, irrespective of the fact that now the questions and answers have already been discussed, it should not have been done before doing the post test. I request all of you all to give the post test because that is equally important. Secondly, we said that the previous session would be our last session in the auditorium, but as the work had not started, we could get this auditorium for this session. Henceforth, the in-service sessions would take place in the lecture hall, and we all are aware about the size of the lecture hall. We won't be able to accommodate everybody. So there will be many of you all who would be attending the in-service session online. So pre-test and post-test देना जरूरी है. Please mark my words, the attendance is going to be marked through this pre-test and post-test, and we have seen that many of you all are not attending the post-test or the pre-test. Like for example, एक जगह पे 5 है, दूसरी जगह पे 0 है. So you have not. There are some who are not attending the post-test, which is not acceptable. So again, a request that pre-test and post-test both have to be attempted. Okay. So henceforth, next session will be in the lecture hall. And in spite of this discussion also, there are QR code attached outside for the post-test, as well as they have also shared it in the nursing administration group, which will eventually come to your ward group, and then you all can solve the post-test there also. Okay. If anybody having doubts can come and Abhijit will solve their doubts. Anybody wants to have any hands-on experience with the machine? Any training?
We have here present to anybody wanting to try on hands-on any can.
Everybody is
As Matt said, it was an open book test, so everybody will give the test. अगर इसमें भी लोग इसे कुछ नहीं कर सकता.
चलो अंदर जल्दी.
चलो ना अंदर थोड़ा सा पीछे चलो ना. ऐसे मत करो, पीछे पीछे मत करो, सर पीछे. ऐसे नहीं होता है. उतरना है तो क्या हुआ, पीछे हो जाना चाहिए थोड़ा सा. जब उतरना है तभी जाएंगे लोग आपको उतरने की जगह.